Hi there, my name's Sarah Francis and today I'm going to teach you a vagus nerve reset. So why do you need this vagus nerve reset? Well, the vagus nerve is the largest nerve, the cranial nerve, that travels down from the brain stem all the way down, taking in eyes, face, ears, neck, back of throat, vocal cords, right down through all the internal organs, all the major organs in the body until it reaches your gut. So what makes this particular nerve so important in helping you to feel well, particularly if you suffer with stress, anxiety, or a trauma disorder like PTSD or complex PTSD? Well, the vagus nerve, a main part of its function is to send the signal back to your brain, letting the brain know how we're doing. So the brain sends a signal down through the vagus nerve to the body. How are we doing? How are things? And then the vagus nerve sends this signal back to the brain to say whether we're good, we're chill, we're cool, everything's fine, or whether we feel that we're under threat, we don't feel safe, we're having a panic attack, we're feeling high anxiety, or we're going into a flashback if we suffer with a trauma disorder. So how can we bring some healing to this activation of the vagus nerve that can sometimes be dysregulated? Okay, so what we can do is we can try and break this loop, because if the vagus nerve is sending a signal back to the brain to say that things aren't okay, the brain is then going to be releasing more adrenaline, more cortisol, in order to move into more activation, fight flight as we call it. So what we need to do is try to get out of that activation and break this constant loop that for some people can be a never-ending cycle of body telling brain not okay, brain sending more to the body to counteract the perceived threat, which often isn't there, because if you have trauma or anxiety, you'll know that you can well get yourself into a high anxiety, dysregulated state over something that we call a trigger, which often isn't anything actually threatening. It just brings on memories from the past and fears from the past, okay? So this brings great hope to anyone who struggles with any of this, because if we can change this signal, then you really can heal. So I personally have suffered with complex PTSD, and I've been using these exercises, and I've now, from the study that I've done, the research I've done into polyvagal theory and other ways to reset the vagus nerve, I have put these together into a short reset. This is part 1. Part 2 will also be good for you if you want to try something a little bit different. It's not yoga, it's really simple. So let's just give it a try and see how you get on. Okay, so the vagus nerve travels down through the eyes, into the ears, sides of the neck, down the vocal cords. So these are areas that we can actually get to. We can't get inside our body and get to our internal organs, but we can get to these areas. And what we want to do is work with these areas of the body in a particular way to encourage the vagus nerve to then change its signal back to the brain and let the brain know that everything is fine. And remember, this is beyond words. No amount of positive thinking is going to make any kind of change if you have a dysregulated nervous system. And this is a way to actually bring some lasting and profound transformative change into your life. So let's start. We're going to begin by activating the vocal cords. So singing is amazing for your vagus nerve. What we're going to do now is we're going to hum. We're then going to ah, and we're then going to om. So we're just going to do a couple of rounds of each, okay? I'll tell you when it's time to change. Bring your hands onto your knees. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. Lift tall through your spine. And just bring your one hand onto your throat for a moment as you hum. And feel that vibration in your throat as you hum. That's what we're trying to feel. We're trying to feel that vibration. We're trying to activate the back of the throat. Okay, so a few rounds. Deep inhale. we're going to change that to an R. Ah. We're going to change to an Good. So just taking a pause and just seeing how that feels. Have a little check-in with your neck and your shoulders. See if you can soften it a little bit as you breathe. Good. So the second part of this reset is some breath work. So pranayama, breath work, it originates from yoga. So what we're going to do is every time you take an inhale, you're actually working with your sympathetic nervous system, which is the part that connects the fight-flight. Every time you exhale, you're connecting to your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part that helps you rest and digest, the part that we want to find if we're feeling activated and stressed. So what we can do is we can lengthen out each exhale. So you can do that just anywhere, anytime. Focus on an inhale and then a longer exhale each time. But let's put it together in a bit more of a structured form that will really help you. So something else we can do, we've already found that little connection to the vocal cords, the back of the throat. There's a bandha in yoga called chin mudra. So what we're going to do is we're going to just try it now. Just tuck your chin right in as far as you can. And as you do, feel there's an activation in the back of your throat. You can feel things contracting in the back of the throat. That's the sensation we want to find as we move through this next part of the reset, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to inhale for 4 through the nose. We're then going to hold the nose, tuck in, hold for 4, finding that chin lock, and then lift the head, release, and exhale for 6. We're going to do that 5 times, and I'll do it with you, okay? So take a deep breath in to begin, and a long exhale out. Close your eyes if you're comfortable. So we're going to inhale nice and deep through the nose for 2, 3, 4. We're then going to hold the nose tight, tuck the chin in, find that chin lock and hold for 2, 3, 4. Lift the head, release. Exhale out through the nose for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold the nose, tuck the chin, hold 2, 3, 4. Lift the head, release, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice how you feel as you keep going. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold the nose, tuck chin, hold 2, 3, 4. Lift the head, release, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Twice more. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold the nose, chin lock, hold the breath 2, 3, 4. Lift, release, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last one. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold the nose, chin lock, hold the breath 2, 3, 4. Lift the head, release, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. And then just find your own natural, easy breath and keep checking in with how you're feeling. Notice if any muscles in your body start to drop a little. Notice if you start to breathe a little more deeply. If you sigh or yawn or find yourself swallowing a lot, that's all a sign, that's a good sign that we're starting to shift this response, this vagus response. Okay, we're going to move to the ears. So the vagus nerve travels mostly through the right ear, but we're going to work with both. Just take your thumb and your index finger and just start to work nicely, massaging gently all the way around the outside of your ear. Just curling a little, massaging in. Again, you can close your eyes if you're comfortable. Now that you've really found your breath through that last bit of pranayama breath work, stay with the breath. And what we're trying to do here, remember, it's not about what we're thinking now, it's about what we're feeling. So we want to feel that the ears are feeling good. And they're going to send a signal back to the brain. Yeah, this is nice. This is feeling good. Everything feels soft and gentle. We're easing. We're having a nice massage. So we're going to move up and down. If you're doing this without me, without the video, you can do this for much longer. You can do this anywhere, anytime. Any part of this, anywhere, anytime. So now you've gone around the edges, just go in, take the index fingers into the top of the ear and curl round and massage into that little crease at the top of the ear. Nice massage circles round one way. Maybe close the eyes again, stay with your breath, go the other way. And then we're going to go into the ear canal. So let me show you. We're going to push the index finger in a little way and then we're going to take it back. So we're going to push into the back of the ear canal. You should still be able to hear me okay. So like you haven't stuck your fingers right into your ears. They're just in a tiny bit circling. Sometimes you can feel a bit of a click in the ear when you do this. That's often a sign that things are quite tense and quite tight. So if that click starts to release, that's a good sign. Good. And then you're just going to take this little piece of the ear there and just circle that, just nice and gentle, that tough little bit. You could do this for much longer if it's feeling good. And then we're going to work a little into the neck. So take your index finger, middle finger, your peace fingers and just start to massage up behind the ear and down the side of your neck here, nice and gentle. Coming down to where the neck meets the top of the shoulder and back up. Again, we're just trying to get that vagus nerve to change its signal. And this can take time depending on where you are on the spectrum of having a trauma disorder or having anxiety. Everyone's on it somewhere pretty much in our society, in the West, in our modern world. We're bombarded by stress continuously, unless you're very lucky and very blessed to have a nice quiet life. We get stress coming at us a lot. So there's a spectrum of mild to severe and we're pretty much all on it somewhere. So that will depend how quickly this reset works for you. But in my work as a yoga teacher, a healer, and running my retreats, particularly working on vagus nerve and trauma healing, I found that this helps people fairly quickly. People often with quite serious issues find this helps. Just doing it the first time often helps. So let's go to the other side and just massage down. And you could just incorporate this into part of your, maybe daily would be amazing, or a few times a week could be really good. Or just remember it if you've had a trigger, if you're going into a really difficult time, you feel super dysregulated. But remember, with trauma, you have to know that it's a problem before you can change it. If you don't know that you have trauma, If you don't know what's happening, then you don't know that it needs to be helped. So taking time to just, inquire into yourself, mindfulness, awareness, consciousness, to just start to notice what's happening in your body. Good. So let's just ease out the neck a little side to side. And then we're going to drop the right ear over to the right shoulder. We're then going to bring the right hand up and place it onto the head, just to give don't pull the head, and then look up. We're going to look up to the left with the gaze as far up as you can, keeping the head over, and we're going to hold this for 30 seconds. Center, and let's go over the other way. Left ear going to the left shoulder. Bring the left hand up, place it on the ear, and then look up to your right and hold it there for 30 seconds. Back to center. When you work with your eyes, there's been some research done into what can be released when you work with that reset with your eyes, and it actually can release dopamine. Dopamine is like a courage hormone. It gives you courage. A lot of people use these vagus nerve resets. Athletes use them before big races, that kind of thing. So it's really powerful. Okay, so we're just going to do a little bit of tapping now. So just bringing some tapping to the top of the chest and the collarbone. So again, we can't get inside the chest, we can't get to the internal organs, so we're just gonna give this a little tap around here. And then we're gonna see if we can get into the spine a little more deeply, okay? So any kind of yoga practice that you do will be really beneficial, particularly if it's slow flow or yin yoga, but any kind of work with your spine is going to get into your cranial nerves and really hit the spot with the vagus nerve. So what we want to do in the spine is not only twist, we want to find that banana, that C shape like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to, we're going to take the head to the left, we're going to bring the left hand on like before, we're then going to take the right hand around, hold the waist, and then pull yourself over like this. So you're creating a C shape. So don't just go a little way, see if you can really pull over. So you see how my whole body's really shifted to the right here. And then we're going to turn the head and look up to the right again, so exactly the same as before, but with this spinal flex as well. And we'll hold it here for 30 seconds. Deep breaths. To center, see how that feels. Maybe just gently move the head a little bit, make sure that feels okay, and then go the other way. Right ear, right shoulder, right hand comes up, places on the ear, left hand goes over to the waist, and again we're pulling over as far as we can, so we're getting that really nice banana C shape through the spine and neck. and then turn the head and again look up to the left. This exercise comes from Stephen Porges, who discovered the polyvagal theory, which is an absolutely fascinating way to understand the nervous system. And a lot of these exercises have come direct from him and his research. Deep breaths. Come back to center. So you could stay in any of those positions longer if you wanted to. We're just going to have a little roll out again. Good. So we're going to come down and round now onto all fours. So bring yourselves round to all fours. So I mentioned polyvagal theory. It's fascinating, and it teaches us that we have three parts. Poly is many, and vagal is the wandering nerve, the vagus nerve. So just come to center in all fours and have a little sway. So the polyvagal theory teaches us that the healthy part of the nervous system of the vagus is the ventral vagus. So this is the part that can feel joy, that can play, that can socialize, that looks at people's faces and sees happy, safe faces, like you can walk into a room of strangers and feel comfortable. If you've got a dysregulated nervous system, you're going to see that's going to be really hard for you. You're going to see a lot of threat in people. You're going to suffer with lots of insecurities, not feeling safe. So spread the fingers. Let's take the tailbone high and look up on an inhale and exhale. So if you're in your ventral vagus is all healthy, you're going to find that you can dance, you can sing, you can play, you can have fun, you can interact socially. You find it easy to make friends and have good, healthy relationships. If you have trauma or anxiety, that's going to be very, very hard for you. You may isolate yourself. You might find it really difficult to connect with other people. The second part of the polyvagal is the sympathetic activation. So that's your fight-flight. That's the part of you that reacts, that runs away, that gets angry, that sort of struggles just to stay calm when you get triggered. Let's do a couple more of these little flexes. The third part is really interesting, and that is your dorsal. And so this is the part that you have a capped nervous system. So when you can cope with so much stress, you can cope with so much trauma, and then you get capped. And what you then do is you drop into dorsal, which is shut down. Dorsal is like the sleep part. I describe this. Let's come onto the belly. We're going to come into Sphinx. So we're going to come onto the forearm. So I describe this like when you watch a wildlife show and you watch the eagle dropping down and it's catching the little rabbit or the mouse. And that rabbit might be running away, but as soon as it's caught, it doesn't keep struggling. You don't see that eagle up in the air with a rabbit that's fighting. It's given up. It's gone completely floppy. And that is the dorsal. So that's a survival mechanism. When the nervous system thinks it can't take anymore and the end is near, it will shut you down and it will flood you with hormones to help you basically go into a peaceful, calm place, but it isn't healthy. So people you know, perhaps, or yourself, who can often be very zen, very calm, but you have a sort of an uneasy feeling around them, you're not quite sure, and then suddenly they flip out, that's because they were in the dorsal. So if you often, after a trigger, you get incredibly tired, you struggle to get out of bed, you're fatigued, that can be dorsal. So that's really interesting to know about. So here in Sphinx, we're going to come to that same reset with the eyes again. So you're going to turn your head, let me do it this way, you're going to turn your head to the right. I'm just going to do it this way so you can see. You're going to turn your head around and you're going to gaze around as far as you can to the right. Okay, so you're turning and then you're gazing to the right as far as you can. So you're getting right into your neck here. Deep breaths. So it might be that you need to maybe take a bit more of a look at polyvagal, look at that, connection with your ventral, your healthy part, your sympathetic, your fight-flight part, and your dorsal, your shutdown part. Recognizing that you have those parts and that they may sort of show you that you're having a problem with a dysregulated nervous system. So let's just hold this here, deep breaths. And come back to center. And then go the other way. Go to the left and take the gaze around as far as you can to the left. And you could stay here longer than 30 seconds. 30 seconds is like the minimum, really. But it doesn't mean you can't stay for a few minutes, or just until you start to feel some release in your body and your energy. And then bring your head back to center. Good. So just lower for a minute. Bring the forehead down. Good. And come up. So there we go, that's your vagus nerve reset. I would hope that by the end of that you would be feeling, if you came into this session today feeling quite heightened, feeling a lot of trauma and anxiety in your body, I would hope that by now you're feeling a little bit better. Let me know how you get on. Do hit subscribe and like if you like this video. Do share it with your friends, and I hope you come back for part 2. Look out for that, which is very similar but just a little bit different if you want to do this regularly but you just don't want to do the same thing every time. Okay, thank you so much.